Hi everyone, it's Sarah here at Lavinia Stamps with a quick craft to make this super easy Christmas card using sticker stencils number 2. There are 4 different stencils in that set, and the one I'm going to use today is the Christmas tree with the little houses in the background. Now, I know some people have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the sticker stencils. I get on with them really well. I think they do great backgrounds for detailed silhouette stamps in the foreground. So just a quick run through of them. When you get them in the packet, they have a little tab on one of the squares. Fold that back, and then if you just hold that down and lift the outer of the stencil off the cellophane background, you can literally just pop the inner through it. Keep your finger on the inner. It should all lift off really easily like that. As simple as that. And then you've got your outer or you've got your inside that you can use in your work. I'm going to pop that one to one side for another day. And today I'm going to be using this one. The piece of card I'm using, it's a 15 by 10 centimeter piece of multifarious card, and all my sticker stencils get covered in dog hairs. Do apologise. It's part of the course in my house. I'm going to pop it towards the top of the piece of card in the middle, hopefully level. And then can you see how there are these areas of white card either side? If I don't cover those up, I know for a fact that I am going to end up giving them a swish with a stencil brush and getting my ink in the wrong place. So once I'm happy with where my stencil is stuck down, I will then just cover the edges of the card with some masking tape. One little tip is when the stencils are new, they are quite sticky on the back. This has been used a few times now, so it's lost a bit of its tackiness, but it still works. When they're new, just rest them on your trouser leg or your jumper and just press them down a little bit, even some old copier paper, just to lift that tackiness off a little bit. That will make them much easier to peel off when you've used them the first time. There we go. So I just cover this card edge with Lavinia low tack masking tape, and that way there's no danger of an accident with the with the stencil brush. I've done that a few times. Okay. Then the first colour I'm going to put down is Elements Bermuda. So this is quite an old pad. I've not got around to re-inking it yet. It's on my list of things to do. So I'm going to give the brush a swirl in the ink pad, and then I'm going to give it a swoosh in my lid just to make sure the ink's running through all the bristles. And then before I use it, I usually just give it a quick test on some copier paper just to make sure that I've got I haven't got too much ink on there. That's fine. And then I just start off at the bottom. I want the colour to be stronger at the bottom than it is at the top. So start off at the bottom. Very light movement, swirling round, and just start to pop your ink down onto your card. Just be wary where you've got the detail of the stencil. Don't be too harsh with your brush movement, because you don't want to kind of flick the plastic up. So just little gentle circles, and you'll just start to get your ink being put down, and you can see the nice gradient happening. So keep adding your ink and work it all the way up to the top. Okay, I think that's about enough. And then I'm just going to very gently peel these off. If you find they are sticking a little bit too much, then just use your heat tool very gently. That will loosen the bond between the glue and the card, and hopefully you can lift it off without incident. You can generally feel if it is pulling the paper. There we go. So you get a lovely crisp outline background. I just clean mine with water and some kitchen roll when I've used them. So then I want to fill in this, what I've called a lake, in front of the houses. So I'm going to use my very small stencil brush. So it's number 3. The one I used before was a number 7. And I've got Blue Lagoon. I am just going to pop a bit of ink on the brush. I don't want a lot of ink for this. And I want a pastel hue. So I'm going to, again, copy a paper, and I am just going to get the multitude of the ink off. And then I'm going to just colour in the water. There we go. And then we're going to do some stamping. So I've got my acrylic block. The first stamp I'm going to do is Edward. And I'd like him to be looking up at the houses. So I'm going to stamp him up in VersaFine Nocturne. Let's check he's all linked up. And he's going to stand just off the stencil, gazing up at the houses. I'll let that soak in a moment. Lift off. And then I'm going to do some of the small pine trees. I'm going to do those off center. So small pine tree, I'm going to ink that in VersaFine Spruce. I don't need all the stamp because I don't need all the trunks. And what I'm going to do with that, I've got a piece of copier paper I've just cut off and trimmed and torn off, and I'm going to just use that to mask the bottom of the trunks off. So I want it roughly on the same level as Edward, but I want the tree to be within sticker stencil background. So one there, and then I'll have a second one over here. Do excuse Fergus with the heavy breathing. It's tea time. And then I'm going to get a smaller tree, and I'm going to do some background stamping. So we'll have one just towards the edge of the water, and then I'm going to have maybe a couple just behind him. So I'll have one about there, and then another one just a touch further back. And then once that ink has dried, just give it a quick blot, some copier paper, we can add a little bit of colour. So I tend to use my Posca pencils. You can use your Mondelez pencils as well. I'm a Posca pencil addict. And so just draw some little windows on the houses, and then maybe add a little bit of colour to his lamp. And then we're going to have a bit of reflection of the yellow at the front of him, anywhere you think the light might hit. And then we'll give Edward a little bit of colour as well. And some hair colour. It's only very subtle, but it just gives you a bit of extra depth to him. And then we need to give our windows some frames. So I'm going to use a just a very fine black fine line pen and just go around the outside of the windows with a frame. Okay, and then we need to do something on our roof line. So I've got one of these Stardust pens. This is like a yellow gold colour. I think I've got every colour now. And just give the roof line a bit of highlight, and then also pop a little bit inside his lamp like that. And then rather than having him floating in midair, we can use one of our fine one of our fine liner brushes. This is the fine detail brush number 2. And if I pop a little bit of water on my acrylic block and use the lid of my Bermuda, I can pick up a little bit of ink. You don't need much. And I can just paint with it. So we can just give him a bit of ground to stand on. And the same for the trees. I think the Bermuda and the spruce go together really, really well, actually. And then a little bit in there. Okay. And then we need some snow on our trees. So I've got the mangaka pen in white. And just simply do some little sweeping brush strokes on the stamp trees just to give them some snow on the branches and make them move forward a little bit. So some on the stem as well. There we go. And there you have your finished card. Really quick, really simple. Hope you enjoyed watching that. Thank you.